To do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talking Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're watching, whenever you listen. I hope you're doing okay. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or give my man a call, 912-268-2328. 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's for an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Holiday Inn and all their properties. If you got to travel somewhere, make sure you stay at a Holiday Inn. I like the Holiday Inn Resorts and, of course, the Holiday Inn Express. I'll give you a better reason to stay at a Holiday Inn property. We'll get you a Billy C discount. That's right. Call our official toll-free number, 844-603-0364. That's 844-603-0364. Or just visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Holiday Inn banner. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. You can get a copy of this book right now where you're watching or listening to this show. Just visit BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting Tom Molyneux's story told. What? You want a signed copy? Don't worry about that either. Just visit the website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book. It's that simple. You want more than one copy? I love you for that. Just email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Programming note, we will not be doing a live show on the 4th of July. For all of our overseas viewers and listeners, that's our Independence Day, man. It's a holiday. We're going to be, trying to blow our hands off and stuff with fireworks. That's what we do here in the United States. But we should be here for the rest of the week. We got some fight results to talk about from the weekend. I'm changing my, how we've been looking at the heavyweight picture. I give the heavyweight roundup on Mondays where we, focus on all the heavyweight action that took place over the weekend. Well, I'm going to take it a step further. What we're going to be doing now is we're going to isolate a couple of the fighters that performed that weekend and give you a little more about these guys, where they're from, where their current record is, et cetera, if they're ranked. All those things. So we're going to kick that off today. But first, in the I guess the biggest fight of the weekend, Gilberto Ramirez improved to 38-0 with 25 knockouts when he scored a 12-round unanimous decision over Romir Alexis Angulo, who lost the first fight of his career. Took place in Oklahoma over the weekend. What a boring fight. I was going to talk about Gilberto Ramirez until we had our studio blow up on Friday. But this is a kid. He's 2 fights away from 40-0, and he's in his 20s. There's a really good chance that this guy ends up, going undefeated for another 10, 15 fights, especially when he fights opponents like this. I watched this fight. I saw a lot of things that I would be concerned about if I was involved with Gilberto Ramirez. Joining me right now to get his thoughts from St. Simon's Island. It's brutally hot here in the Northeast. I can only imagine what it's like in the Southeast. Sal?
Forget about it. Let me tell you something. One thing I am still trying to get used to is the heat. And We have an old saying in the restaurant business: we can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, I'm not going to say I'm going to move from Georgia or St. Simons, but I'll tell you what, it's Billy C. This is hot. This is hot, 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 and it's not like picture a heat wave up in the north that is relentless and never ends. That's what we get down here. And hey, but I chose to move, so I'm going to shut up and do what the Romans do.
Sal, it's been in the upper 90s here. Today it's going to hit 100, hot and humid. It's miserable, so I'm feeling your pain. Did you get a chance to watch Gilberto Ramirez over the weekend?
I did. I saw some of the real big highlights and rounds, and didn't get to see the fight live. But I'll tell you what, I like Ramirez. I mean, he's a solid fighter. He seems to be sound. He's aggressive. He brings the fight to his opponents, and it was a good little exchange here and there. And Angulo, I'll tell you what, he was game. He came up short, but I thought Gilberto looked good at times, and he's not flawless, and there's some things that I think that he's got to work on. But other than that, I think he put on a pretty good performance. Like I said, I always like to watch these lighter guys exchange punches and combinations, and we got a chance to see that.
Well, first of all, I like Gilberto Ramirez, a big middleweight. Reminds me of when middleweights were monstrous. Every time I think of big middleweights, I can't help but think of some of the guys in the past. I mean, theoretically, some of them were smaller, but Iran Barkley was a big guy.
Barkley, huge.
And the Charlo brothers are big. But anyway. Gilbert, and this is super middleweight division, by the way. Gilberto Ramirez, to me, first of all, Angulo, I know he looked impressive on paper, but
yes, he did.
He wasn't too impressive in the ring. And every time he landed a sharp shot to Ramirez, it seemed like it stunned him. I see Ramirez, when you look at one of the things I was going to do before the studio blew up last week, was break down his record and stuff like that. And he does have an impressive win over Arthur Abraham when he won the title. But he's been pretty much protected ever since. And I don't know if that's due to his team or if it's due to just a weak division. But I got news for you. This guy did not look impressive. He looks like he's still a work in progress. At 38-0, a world champion, making his fourth or fifth title defense, should be a little more polished, should not have been as easy to hit. When you see some of these other talented super middleweights out there, I don't know how Ramirez is going to fare against them. As a matter of fact, I don't know how many more Alexis Angulos he can actually fight, Sal, before he has to, fight a legitimate fighter. We got the World Boxing Super Series super middleweight tournament that's not complete yet, but George Groves and George Groves and Callum Smith are still they've still yet to face each other, and I'm not so sure how Ramirez would do against either one of those two guys.
Well, that's a good point, and I think it would be a good fight. I think Ramirez, with his mindset and his capabilities, I think he's going to try and be in on every fight, and I think we'll see a consistent performance and output from him. It's just how will he adapt when he's in with a different style or a mirrored style? Can he sustain the level of punches and bunches and keep his hands up and slip his head side to side enough to avoid some of that big haymakers? Because he did get tagged the other night from Angulo, and I think time is going to tell. I think he's a decent fighter. He's a solid fighter. Does every fighter have a flawless game? No. But I think, if he does work and pay attention to some of the things that maybe his trainers could point out, he'll be able to tighten up a little bit where he needs to. I think he's a good, well-conditioned athlete, and we'll see what's in store for him. But I understand what you're saying and your concerns. I think it's evident.
Now, on that card,
yes,
there was a fight that was absolutely entertaining as all hell. As a matter of fact, it went from entertaining to gruesome, and I couldn't understand why Lenny Zapavinga's corner didn't stop it a little sooner. Not because Lenny wasn't trying, but because this guy was busted up. I mean, there was blood everywhere. I was getting blood splattered on me on my couch, man, from the TV. In any event, Alex Saucedo improved to 28-0 with 18 knockouts when Lenny Zapavinga's corner finally stopped the action in the seventh round of a extremely entertaining fight. As a matter of fact, Lenny Zapavinga had Saucedo in all kinds of trouble. How this kid stayed up, I don't know. He was taking some shots. I mean, Zapavinga's not known for his punching power. If he had a little more, just a little more pop behind those punches, he would have stopped Saucedo in the fourth round. And as a matter of fact, I don't think many people could have argued if the referee stopped it in the fourth round. I mean, it was just nonstop punching. Saucedo's did not respond. He wasn't responding. He was getting battered against the ropes, and they let it continue. And at the end, it was Zapavinga whose corner stopped the fight. Saucedo, like I said, improved to 28-0 with 18 knockouts. Zapavinga loses for the fourth time in his career, 37-4 with 27 knockouts. May be his last fight. He gets beat up with a lot of cuts around his eyes. He's had surgery in the past. Sal, did you get a chance to see this one?
Oh gosh, yes, I saw most of that fight, and I saw what is arguably going to be the round of the year. I think it was the fourth round, and man, I'll tell you, that round was brutal. And as you pointed out, Saucedo, how he stayed on his feet, it was unbelievable. And Zapavinga was just relentless in his attack, and the punches and bunches. You can't say no more. I mean, it was just a war. And Saucedo, he went on, and he fulfilled what he planned on doing. He landed those punches, and I think Zapavinga, his corner eventually had to take a real close look because this guy was busted up all over the place. But it was a brutal fight, and very entertaining fight, as you pointed out. And I'll tell you, Saucedo's still undefeated.
They were talking about the round 4 being a round of the year. I tell you why it shouldn't be. I'll tell you why it shouldn't be, and I totally get it, and I loved the round. But
it was a good round.
But it was a one-sided round. A round of the year should be a back and forth round. Not a one-sided beatdown. We could see that in a lot of fights. And by the way, for all my radio and television affiliates, we're not taking a break here. We will be taking a break at the half-hour mark. Like this fight, also on that card, heavyweight Trey Lippy Morrison improved to 15-0 when he knocked out Brian Polly, who drops to 30 wins, 23 losses, and a draw in the third round. Polly was down 5 times. He was down, 5 times in this fight. Everybody's saying how much heart he showed. I don't know if you saw the fight, but it certainly looked like he had no interest, Brian Polly, of going much longer. The shot that put him out for the count hardly even landed. He's a professional journeyman. Now, let's take a look at Trey Lippy Morrison. He's a U.S.-based fighter, 28 years old, the son of Tommy the Duke Morrison, the heavyweight worldwide. They got him at number 69 by the computer. He's 6'4" with a 74.5-inch reach. Now he's 16-0 with 16 knockouts. he had been climbing the ladder, so to speak, of the heavyweight division. In 2016, he faced Ed Lattimore, which in my opinion was the best opponent he's faced even to date, who was 13-0 at the time. He stopped him in the first of his scheduled 6-round fight. He fought two tough guys after that, in Ty Cobb and Oswaldo Ortega, stopping both of those guys. And then, of course, I'm sorry, he's 15-0. I jumped the gun a bit. I said he was now 16-0. No, yeah, I'm wrong. He's 15-0. And then the fight with Polly. Now, he did get an injury that he sustained in 2016, which kept him out of the ring all of 2017. His comeback fight was March 9th, 2018 against Ortega, so he's fought twice so far this year. Sal, I don't know if you got a chance to see this kid. I know there's a lot of interest in him because of who he is, the name and stuff, but I need to see him against more Ed Lattimore type fighters that come to fight. I mean, that fight did end quickly, but the truth of the matter is, I want to see him in there against some legitimate opponents, because the last thing I want is another Jarrell Big Baby Miller type of a guy that comes out and doesn't fight anyone and all of a sudden gets a world title shot. And you can make the argument about Huey Fury as well. So I mean, I want to see him. It's time. He's 15-0. It's time to step up the level of opposition. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think you're 100% correct. And in your assessment and your appraisal, and I think you're 100% correct, Bill. You definitely have an opportunity to cultivate and to develop your career, but you've got to be tested. And there's small increments of those tests that get thrown at you from time to time to see how you're learning, to see how you're progressing. But if you're being laid out with the golden brick road in front of you, and you can't just walk to the top of the game without having to prove yourself one way or the other. So I think a test here and there by a formidable opponent is going to be what's going to make him or break him. And I think, as you pointed out, because who he is, I think that he has been able to rise to the occasion and have taken care of some of these opponents of a lesser skill and things like that. And he's had an opportunity here and there to rise to the occasion and beat some decent fighters. But yeah, I think now the testing should start and see how he has developed.
One other fight on that card before we move on. Former world champ Mike Alvarado got back in the ring and scored a 9th-round stoppage over Martin Angel Martinez, who drops to 17 wins, 15 losses, and a draw. At the welterweight division, Mike Alvarado improves to 39-4. The way the sport of boxing operates these days, expect Mike Alvarado to be in a title shot soon after a win over a guy he should have finished a lot sooner than 9 rounds. Undefeated Irish Olympic star in the super featherweight division, Michael Conlan, he improved to 8-0 when he took on Ailton dos Santos in a 8-round fight in Ireland over the weekend. It went the distance. The referee, which they do over there for non-title fights, scored the fight 79-73 for Conlan, who improved, like I said, to 8-0. Dos Santos drops to 19-5. Also on that card, a good fighter in Jack Catterall. He improved to 21-0 with 12 knockouts when he won a 10-round decision over Tyrone McKenna, who drops to 16-1 with a draw, 95-91 and 94-93 twice. Also on that card, unbeaten super featherweight John O'Carroll improved to 16-0 with 3 knockouts when he stopped Declan Gerdery in the 9th round. Gerdery drops to 17-3. Now let's talk about some heavyweight action. Friday night, which I didn't get a chance to really take a look and break this guy down, But Hasim Rahman Jr., the son of Hasim Rahman Sr., knocked out Steven Tyner of Ohio at 1 second of the second round. He battered this kid from start to finish. He's now 5-0 with 4 knockouts. Tyner, well, he's now 4 wins, 16 losses, 3 draws, and 2 of those 4 wins came by knockout. So, Hasim Rahman Jr., maybe someone to keep an eye on. I got to be 100% honest with you. Never thought much of Hasim Rahman at all. Yes, he was a world champion. How that worked isn't the way I like to see world champions get their belts. I've seen him work out long past his prime, but still, I watched a middleweight in Las Vegas beat the snot out of him. He quit, and this was in sparring. He quit. Never had much interest in Rahman Sr. Hopefully, cold-blooded, which is the nickname of Rahman Jr., can turn the tables in that family. There was also some nephews and stuff of Hasim Rahman on that card. I'm looking at the heavyweight.
Fighting family.
Yeah, fighting, that's exactly what it was. Now, the heavyweight roundup for this weekend, taking place in France. This fight took place in France. On Saturday, Mark Miguel, making his pro debut, improved to 1-0 when he won a 4-round decision over Florian Strupidits, who drops to 3 wins, 54 losses, and 4 draws. To suggest he's a professional opponent would be an understatement. In New Zealand, Slade King making his pro debut, and he upset the guy who I think was supposed to win this fight. He is now 1-0 when he knocked out Joshua Tongalia in the 4th round of the scheduled 4-round fight. Tongalia is now 0-1-1. In the UK, Mark Bennett improves to 2-0 when he stopped Dorian Darch in the 2nd round of a scheduled 4-round fight. Dorian Darch drops to 12 wins, 7 losses, and a draw. Mark Bennett is one of these fighters that I wanted to showcase today. He's a UK fighter. He is now, like I said, 2-0. He's 31 years old. He was ranked going into this fight at number 559, with a 1-0 fighter. But Dorian Darch, he was ranked at number 321, so I'm expecting Bennett to jump up. Now, Darch was not an easy opponent, considering who he has been in the ring with. He went 6 rounds with Fury in 2013. Lost that 6-round decision. He was knocked out in the 2nd round a year later, actually the next fight, when he fought Anthony Joshua. And then in his last fight, Daniel Dubois knocked him out in December of last year in the 2nd round of 10. So Dorian Darch, yes, he's been in there with some good fighters and didn't win against any of them. But I'm looking at Mark Bennett. His first opponent as a pro had 88 professional fights when he beat him by a 4-round decision. The problem with this guy is he's got to be a little more active at 31 years old. He's a pretty big guy. At least he weighs in. He weighed 248 for his first fight, and against Darch he weighed 239.5. This is one of those guys that we need to keep an eye on, Sal. Another heavyweight from the UK.
Well, I'll tell you what, like we have always said, or like we've recently said, the UK just keeps developing and producing some great talent, and they have been carrying the sport of boxing on their shoulders. I'm telling you, they do what's right. They develop. They have their fighters not afraid to face or fight anybody. And like I said, when you see a fighter that evolves and rises to the top, if you're afraid to lose, you're going to be afraid to win. So it's good to see these guys wanting to face and wanting to fight anybody, and continuing to develop their craft. And that's what boxing is all about.
Just to wrap up the heavyweight roundup, in California on Saturday, Rodney Hernandez upsets LaRon Mitchell to improve to 11 wins, 7 losses, and a couple of draws. He won a split decision 8-round fight. LaRon Mitchell, going into this fight, was undefeated at 16-0, and I was actually going to showcase him. But at 38 years old, this guy, this was a fight that was basically could have, for all intent purposes, may have just derailed this kid. A win over him to get to 17-0 would have gotten LaRon Mitchell a chance at getting a title shot. I'm not saying he would have got a title shot at 17-0, but he would have gotten one of those other belt type opportunities that could have catapulted him. But not being able to beat Rodney Hernandez may have spoiled that. And like I said, at 38 years old, the time clock is ticking. Also on that card, Blake McCarron improved to 9-0 when he won a 6th-round unanimous decision over Miguel Cubos, who drops to 11-18. Over in Connecticut, at the Mohegan Sun, Cassius Chaney improved to 13-0 when he stopped Elder Hernandez in the first round of a scheduled 6-round fight. Hernandez drops to 5-3. And Friday, over in Australia, Joseph Goodall improved to 3-0 when he stopped Braxton Edwards in the first round of a scheduled 4-round fight. Edwards drops to 0-2. And Jay Titisi goes to no wins, no losses, and 1 draw when he gets a 4-round split decision draw against Robert Ferguson, who now is 1-5-1. Jay Titisi obviously was making his pro debut. And that, my friends, was the heavyweight action from this weekend, Sal.
Great roundup there, Bill. We got the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do. It really shows our age.
That's why hey, guess what? I just realized why we haven't heard it lately.
Yeah. Friday night, also was an ESPN broadcast, was a welterweight contender Rashidi Ellis improved to 20-0 with 13 knockouts when he won a 10-round decision over Alberto Mascara, who drops to 25-3-2. The way the judges sorted it, 97-92, and 2 of them had it the same at 98-91. In the super bantamweight division, Francisco Horta improved to 17 wins, 3 losses, and a draw when he won an 8-round unanimous decision over David Reyes, who drops to 17-5-1. The way the judges scored it, one had it 79-72, one had it 78-73, one had it 80-72. And also on that card in a upset, Haram Alvarado improved to 7 wins, 2 losses, and a draw when he scored a 6-round unanimous decision over previously unbeaten Eduardo Munoz, who went into this fight at 10-0 with 10 knockouts. He's now 10-1. The way the judges scored it, 57-56 twice, 58-55 all for Gallardo. In Philadelphia, Carlos Maldonado improved to 11-2 when he beat North Philly's Miguel Cartagena, who was trying to fight in front of his hometown. He drops to 15-5-1. The way it was a split decision, the way the judges scored it. One had it 76-75 for Cartagena, one had it 76-75 for Maldonado, and the third had it 77-74 for Maldonado. And one last fight I wanted to talk about in the cruiserweight division, J.I. Opatia improved to 16-0 with 13 knockouts when he stopped Curtis Pagaro in the second round of a scheduled 10-round fight. Pagaro drops to 11-4 with one of his wins coming by knockout. Opete is a good fighter to keep an eye on. He's 22 years old in the cruiserweight division, ranked in the top 11. He's ranked at number 11 by the WBO, 16-0 with 13 knockouts. He's a guy that I think we should keep an eye on, Sal.
I think you're right, pal. I think you're right.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break.
You're right a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, you're right so many times, there's nothing left.
I know. I tell you the truth. I agree with me. I agree with me
too.
But anyway, in any event, let's take a short break. Hey, don't forget, coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to have Dax Khan giving us his thoughts on the fights. And later in the week, Dax is going to join us and give us a breakdown of the World Boxing Super Series. Not so much the previous one, which we're going to talk about a little bit today, But the ones that are coming up, this next World Boxing Super Series is going to feature not one, not two, but three different weight classes. So anyway, hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, I got an update on Triple G Canelo and some other stuff. And, oh, by the way, we're going to read the emails that we never really got to on Friday, including the one that I think I started to read from Raheem. So we'll be in. Just don't go anywhere.
Billy C will be right back.
Have osteoarthritis in one or both knees? If you have osteoarthritis in one or both knees, are you on Medicare, Obamacare, or other health insurance? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a prescription strength solution for osteoarthritis of the knees, covered by Medicare at little to absolutely no cost to you. We also offer a prescription strength topical pain relief ointment that can be used for pain experienced on other areas of your body. Our experienced staff will work with your doctor and handle all of your Medicare or insurance paperwork. Best of all, your prescription is shipped directly to your home for free. Will you qualify for a prescription strength solution for osteoarthritis of the knee or for a topical pain relief ointment covered by Medicare or private insurance at little or no cost to you?
Find out for free by calling the Back and Knee Pain Center at 1-800-604-1072. That's 1-800-604-1072, 1-800-604-1072.
Medical alarms for people who fall or have medical emergencies. You never think you'll need one until you do. Hi, I'm Lonnie Anderson for Advantage Alert. Today, our advanced systems locate and protect people inside and outside their homes, plus when they're on the road, allowing users with the press of a button to speak with an operator who can summon help. And even after 30 years, Advantage Alert's products remain amazingly affordable.
Call 800-985-1705.
Addiction is an epidemic in America. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, you need to call the R360 Network now.
I'm Ken Seeley, author, addiction recovery specialist, and former addict. R360 is a nationwide network of addiction recovery specialists that I personally selected and recommend.
The call is free, the consultation is free. If you have private insurance, your treatment could be covered with no out-of-pocket cost.
Call 800-705-0023.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. We're glad you're with us every day. But, hey, don't forget, if you're watching and you're in our chat room up on our YouTube channel, don't forget to give us a super chat. We'll be glad to put your question, comment, concern, whatever, as part of our show. But it's going to cost you whatever. All right? So give us a super chat. Update on Triple G Canelo. You know, Sal, I mean, as much as I get really tired of the same old, you know, the promotional tour and, you know, standing in front of each other, pushing and shoving, this is real, we hate each other. They kicked off their promotional tour, but in a what's considered an unusual move by today's standards, they're not going to go face-to-face until the final pre-fight news conference during the week of the fight. and then at the weigh-in.
Okay.
I like it. It because I think and some of the reasons is they've actually admitted that there's enough publicity about this fight that they don't really need to marinate it anymore. They don't need to build it up. It's already there. And I like it because I get tired of seeing the same old thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Next city. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. It's like rehearsed, and with today's technology, everybody sees the first one. It's the same as the second one. I just remember going through watching that with Conor McGregor and what's his face there, the guy that used to be a fighter. He claimed he was a fighter. He's Floyd. What's his name? I forget his name, but it's no big problem. But they played that out like a fiddle. These guys aren't. What's your thoughts on them not meeting until the fight?
Well, I think it's a different approach, and I think it's good. It gives some of us something to look forward to on that first. We can read their body language and their verbiage at the time, and so I think it's going to be unique to the sport, and we'll see. I kind of like it. We'll see what happens. I think it's a good little test.
I like it. I like it as well. Let's. We got a super chat. My man Joel saves the day, and he says he feels that Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder should both take some of the criticisms for this fight not taking place. Of course, it's.
I knew
it's
you were
both.
going to hit this one. Ooh.
Well, listen.
Good, Joel. We got to talk about it.
Well, we talked about it to death, and I'm quite honestly, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Kill it.
What bothers me is, like we were talking the other day before the studio blew up, you're either on one side or the other, and there's no in between. If you're on AJ's side, Wilder backed off. If you're on Wilder's side, AJ backed off. I don't believe anything from Wilder. I don't. I don't believe anything from his team. I never thought that there was any money around, that $50 million. Everything they've done in a non-norm way. They've done everything in a we're supposed to believe you just because you say it, and they don't have the track record. So, in my opinion, I blame it on Deontay Wilder, but that's me. Let's move on with the Triple G Canelo. We had some comments. Oscar, which I normally don't like to give the promoter any. Thanks for the super chat, by the way, Joel. Oscar De La Hoya says there's serious bad blood between these guys. This fight is personal, which they always say, but I believe this one is. He says the stakes are high. Canelo will, without a doubt, want to shut Triple G up, and the only way to do it is to knock him out on September 15th. I have no doubt that our champion will walk away with the victory. Triple G says, I'm happy that this deal is done and the rematch is on. I'm ready to get back to work at Big Bear in California with Abel. This is the biggest fight for boxing, the fight everybody wants. It's a fight to see who's the best. It's for boxing history. I'm happy to be defending my titles on Mexican Independence Day. It's a great stage for a true Mexican-style fight. Canelo can walk into the ring last. Canelo can be introduced last. The most important thing is who leaves the ring last, and that will be me as the world champion, as the people's champion. I'll see you at the Big Drama Show. Canelo, well, I'm going to read the quotes, and then I'm going to get your thoughts. Canelo says, the truth is this fight means a lot to me because of all that's happened and all that's been said. I will prove with my fist that I'm the best, and Triple G will eat all of his words and speculations. I hope he doesn't eat tainted meat. Anyway, he says, I will demonstrate who's the best when I defeat Triple G on September 15th during Mexican Independence Day, and I'll make it clear that Mexican boxing is the best. Another quote from Canelo, he claims that Triple G and his team are hypocrites, saying that during their negotiations, all Triple G wanted was, respect. That's what they were talking about publicly, but really, in truth, all they cared about was the money. He says, and this is Canelo, I believe that cordially we had, not in the ring, cordiality, I should say, not in the ring, is over. This is his reasons why they're not going to go face-to-face, because they kept opening their mouths. I don't like to talk too much. Obviously, I get mad, but I can control myself until it's time to fight. That's why there'll be no more cordialness between us. I don't know why they're annoyed. If I'm the one that has made them the most money, they say that's not important. They say that they're not arguing about that, but it's the first thing that they say they're fighting for, the money, the purse. They only care about that. The hypocrisy is saying that it's not important is the first hypocrisy. I don't know what to think. These guys just don't get it, Sal. No. And I say these guys meaning the team of Canelo Alvarez. The issue was that he cheated and he got caught and he tried to turn it around and blame Triple G. I don't think there's any hypocrites there. I really don't. What's your thoughts on the comments and all the stuff leading up to right this second?
Well, going into it, when you first gave me Triple G's comments, I said, wow, that's a class act and a gentleman. He knows exactly what he's going in the ring for, and that's to prove his dominance and to come out the victor. And, by him saying he doesn't care about this or that and it doesn't mean anything, the last thing the only thing that means anything is that he wins the fight. And that's cool, calm, collected, and well thought about. Now, Canelo Alvarez, what is he doing? He's pointing the fingers again. Turn around. He's doing this. He's doing that. It's again. Is it the accountability? Is it this? I was a big Canelo Alvarez fan. A big Canelo Alvarez fan. I thought he was tough. I thought he was great. He's still good. But you know what? Once you cheat, once you're a cheater, you're a cheater. And by you not owning up to it and coming out with something else other than, I didn't know the cows got pumped with steroids or whatever it might have hinted that he believed. I lost some respect for him. And I'm losing some respect for him now by him trying to turn it around and point it again. And here's what he's doing. He's taking the attention away from everybody about why this whole incident or where this fight was all these months to finally evolve to where it is today. And what he could do is take everybody's attention and eyes off of the real reason by trying to turn the tables around and accuse other people. But I think fight fans and people in boxing are a lot smarter than that, and they know the truth. And I feel in my heart of hearts, all words will be silenced when we see the action from these two combatants on September 15th. And I do believe in my heart of hearts that Triple G will come out more dominant, the boxer that we know he's capable of being and doing and has been. And I think he's going to be very dominant in this fight, and I think he's going to answer all the questions, and I think he's going to beat and stop Canelo Alvarez.
Well, I think he kind of has to, but
he has to at this point.
I agree. And speaking of Triple G and Canelo, tickets actually go on sale tomorrow. Officially, I think there was a way to get early seats. There are some ticket limits, but just to give you an idea of pricing, the cheapest tickets you can buy for the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas for September 15th are $300 seats. It goes from $300 to $500 to $700, $800, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, and top ring sides are $5,000 apiece. Josh Taylor, a junior welterweight, has agreed to fight in the World Boxing Super Series. He is added. There'll be 3 weight classes for this second World Boxing Super Series. The bantamweight and super lightweight, which is junior welter, have already been announced. We're going to have Dax Khan come on Thursday and give us a rundown of the World Boxing Super Series tournament, the next one. But just to get you caught up, Ryan Burnett He's a WBA super world bantamweight champ. He's in it. Emmanuel Rodriguez. He's the IBF world bantamweight champion. He's in it. Jason Maloney. He's a champ. He's in it. Zolani Teat. He's a champ. He's in it. Those are in the bantamweight. In the junior welterweight, Kyril Relika. He's a champion. He's in it. Anthony Yigit. He's a Euro champ and an IBF mandatory title challenger. He's in it. Ivan Baranicek. He's an IBF mandatory. He's in it. Josh Taylor, like I just mentioned, he's a WBC. He's in it. Listen, I love the World Boxing Super Series, Sal, because they put the guys that have a lot to lose in the ring against each other. And to me, that speaks volumes. I love it.
Well, I know that, and you've said that all along, and I do agree. And when you're taking the luck of the draw and see who you're going to face, and it's no politics involved. It's just what I said. The tournament rules, regulations. Let's match you with this guy and that guy, and we'll see who rises to the top, who wins. It doesn't matter because you're all humble and fair as you can be when you step into the ring when you're in a tournament such as this.
Just another tidbit on the World Boxing Super Series. The championship fights for the cruiserweight final have not taken place because of injury. Well, it was announced officially that July 21st in Russia, Moscow to be exact, Alexander Usyk will be taking on Murat Gassiev for the Muhammad Ali Trophy and will be the undisputed cruiserweight world champion. Actually, it will be the first time any cruiserweight had all of the four major belts, and will only join B-Hop in 2004, Jermaine Taylor in 2005, and recently Terrence Crawford this year, who had all of the belts. So a big fight taking place at the end of this month. I can't wait for this one. Just to give you an update, the super middleweight final has not been taken place yet and has not been set yet. Remember, George Groves suffered a dislocated shoulder, and they're still waiting to schedule that one between him and Callum Smith. So the World Boxing Super Series, big stuff. All right, let's read some of these emails that I didn't get a chance to read on Friday, or whenever we did our show. We kind of got blown up here. And I apologize for that. But Raheem, it started off, and maybe it was our discussion. We'll know if we lose everything right now. But he says, "Good morning, Billy C. and Sal. It's me, Raheem." He says, "The Wilder-Joshua fight not happening is disappointing. My younger cousins blame Wilder, but they are more into MMA than boxing. Boxing, for me, is much better." This is Raheem. He says, "I told my cousins that Joshua's team is like a corporation, and that's a bad thing for the sport we love. I think Wilder needs to concentrate on Marciano's record, then break Floyd's record. And if Wilder does that, then as boxing fans, we will have seen two of the greatest in Floyd and Wilder accomplish this." And then he says, "Oh, on another topic, are you giving away any free room and board for the contest in your event in September?" We're not doing the event in September in St. Simon, so no, we're not giving away any of that. Listen, I just thank God for Raheem's father, because I disagree with a lot of Raheem, but I do respect Raheem for being a fan, and I respect his opinions, and that's what makes this sport so great, Sal, that everyone has their own opinion. But, it's not about, first of all, Floyd Mayweather took that record, which is substantial only for heavyweights. Now, if Deontay Wilder chooses to go and break Rocky Marciano's 50-0 record and ends up at 51-0, and fights cupcakes and bums like he has for his whole 39 of his 40 other fights, then so be it. You can't deny it. It's hard to win 50 fights, even if you're fighting your sister 50 times. The problem is, he's calling the offer $15 million to fight Anthony Joshua crackhead money when he has never made anywhere near that. Deontay Wilder has only made 2.5 at the most. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he made that. So he's a BS artist. You know what that stands for. And for him to fight, 11 more times, even if he's active, will take at least 4 more years of him fighting bums. And I would guarantee that if he fights, 10 more times at $2 million a pop to get to 50-0, he'll make $20 million. He could make $20 million fighting Anthony Joshua twice. And my question would be, how important is the record? If you want to be a guy that goes down in history for being 51-0 as a heavyweight, okay, I respect that. I really do. But if you want to be financially secure for you, your family, your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your great-great-grandkids, your great-great-great-grandkids, then you go for the money. What's your thoughts, Sal?
Well, I think you gave both scenarios, and truly, and I'm not saying he can't have both. I mean, Deontay Wilder is a talent to be reckoned with, and I'm so disappointed on this fight not happening right now. And, like I said, though, whoever the powers that may be put the wrenches in here. I think both sides of the camp are each camp is at fault, and we're going to have to wait and see. And hopefully these guys will get past their next bouts, and we'll be able to finally see. But Deontay Wilder's moving along. I don't think he's got the best advice that's going on in his camp, and I don't think he should have skipped this opportunity, because we don't know if it could ever happen again. And hopefully, what they're betting on, that it will. But when you're looking at a $15 to $20 million purse, and with a reassurance or a guaranteed rematch, no matter what happens, and a chance for another 15, 20 million, as you just said, so much black and white. You're going to maximize your income when you're going to minimize your rounds, and that's basically how you get out with your brains and with your money.
Another email that I want to get to. My man Mitch says, Deontay. I'm trying not to talk about these guys, but he says Deontay Wilder's already claiming 51-0 with a hashtag, and with the bums that he likes to fight. I'm just sure he doesn't get it. What he doesn't understand is that he should be claiming 50-0, topping Marciano, not 51-0, topping a retired welterweight. This is the whole point about the youth today. This is Mitch who's right. This is the problem about the youth today. You don't know what you're talking about. Neither does Deontay. Floyd Mayweather managed to manipulate and con a couple of generations with his BS. The only division it matters in is the heavyweight division, because no one has ever achieved 50-0 ever in the heavyweight division. Okay? And I guarantee you, the way Floyd is spending money like a drunken sailor, spent $18 million on a watch the other day, spent, I don't know, $8-something million on a car. He's buying parts. He bought another jet. This is a guy. Now remember, he hasn't paid his taxes for the McGregor fight yet. Remember, he fought that fight and paid off the taxes from the Pacquiao fight. This is a guy that's going to piss his money away, and then he's going to have to get back in the ring, because that's the only way that he can make money, because he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, and he's going to lose. And then what happens, unless he steps in with some bum, I don't know how he's going to make money on a pay-per-view unless he fights a real fighter. But how substantial is the record? There's been many fighters outside the heavyweight weight class that have reached 50-0 and beyond before they lost. Julio Cesar Chavez is one that comes to mind quickly. 80 fights before he lost his first one. So he's going to be just another fighter when the smoke clears. He says, there goes that P word again. That rhymes with wussy. Get used to hearing that from Wilder for at least the next 10 months. Yeah, you see, that's the other thing. Wilder is calling it. Whatever. Thanks for the email. Mitch has got more. He says his ex-best friend, he's talking about Floyd, 50 Cent, joking him, and rightfully so. He spent an Anthony Joshua paycheck on the watch. I would just mention it. He says the guy he's got to be a bigger dummy than anyone I've ever seen when it comes to spending money. Just when you thought him spending $4.5 million for a car and his third jet, okay, I thought he only had two, was as bad as it could get. Now he buys this watch. And I had seen photos of this watch, $18 million. They call it the $1 million watch, Sal. The billionaire watch or something like that. A guy that can spend $18 million on a watch. He's spending a lot of money quickly, Sal, and that's the problem with these high-end athletes. You make so much money. He's got all his goons around him. He's got all these property, all the jets, all those things, and that's fine and dandy when you're cashing checks for $100 million. But that stops. Where's the revenue? When your standard of living continues at that rate, you start spending money quicker than you realize. And like I said, let's be real. And no disrespect to Floyd, but he's not a smart guy. Yes, he's been able to do what he was able to do for several reasons, but I'm not so sure he's a smart guy. I think we're going to find someday that there's a brain behind what Floyd has done, and it wasn't his own. But that's my opinion. And he's spending too much money, Sal. Plus, he gambles. He's a gambler. Don't think that that every time Floyd gambles, he wins. He only posts the winning tickets because that's what gamblers do. They only talk about the money they won. They don't talk about the money they lost.
True. And all that comes to mind are the infamous words spoken by Rocky Balboa when he said, "Hey, yo, you want to have a good time? You have to have a good watch."
Yeah, well, you don't need an $18 million watch. You know what I mean? You don't.
I'm teasing, but you're right. I mean, $18 million. Come on, that could be 18 Ferraris. I'm teasing.
It could.
You gotta look at what you're doing, and you gotta realize you still have to pay Uncle Sam, and if he won a legit $100 million, he's gonna owe Uncle Sam at least $30 million of that, and maybe more. And the bottom line is, that's a little bit more money than what your cash advance on credit cards could allow you to do.
Hey, what do you think the interest and penalties on $30 million?
Forget about it. Right. You know what? Right. You don't even want to know, Bill, because I'm sure he's not going to want to know. I know what mine are, and so it's not even a splinter compared to what he does. And I'll tell you what, I think he just needs to be real and realistic in his purchases, and unless he has something up his sleeve and he knows how he's going to create and stimulate an income stream of money for new revenue to come through that door, he's got to watch what he does in spending his money.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. I really don't believe he is. And the way the fighters are leaving him, because he's got such an ego.
We're going to be paying for a Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight in about another year.
That's the only one. Hey, listen, that's the only fight that Floyd could come back to and make substantial money. I don't think he's going to make $100 million. But if Manny Pacquiao can beat Lucas Matisse in his fight, if the fight goes on, then I think we will see that fight. I think we will see the rematch because Floyd is going to need it. And then he's going to spend all that money and then, a couple of years down. Because remember, Floyd's 40 years old now, and he clearly wasn't the same version of Floyd as even prior to the Manny Pacquiao fight. The best Floyd has come and gone. He could be in great shape and he can look good against the cherry-picked opponents. But we never saw the best Floyd Mayweather. That's my hang-up with Floyd Mayweather. My hang-up with Floyd Mayweather is that he never showed us the best of him because of what he did. When in that decade of cherry-picking, he made sure that he made the maximum money with the least amount of risk. And at the end of the day, we never saw if this guy had heart. He says he has heart. How do we know that? Heart is when a guy, Lenny Zappavinga has heart. You know, when a guy gets dropped and lifts his ass up off the canvas and come back to win a fight. Not that Zappavinga did, but, you know, that shows heart. Sustain a serious cut, get an eye closed, something that you have to come back from. That shows heart. Floyd Mayweather has never shown us any heart at all in the ring. He certainly doesn't show any heart when he beats up women and stuff. So the truth of the matter is, we don't know if he's got heart. We don't know if he can keep his you-know-what together when the going gets tough. You know, and we're never going to know. We'll never know. We'll never know. And I think that's important. What? We got to take a break.
Okay, I could see one other fight that fans might pay to see Floyd Mayweather in. I think it'd be a great comeback for both fighters to see Oscar De La Hoya fight Floyd Mayweather one more time.
You know, that's interesting.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I would pay for that, and I think Oscar might have learned a lot in the last couple of years, but we'll see. But because thinking, there's really no fights I really care to see Manny Pacquiao in, other than what he first said his intent for getting the surgery and everything else was to fight Floyd Mayweather again. And you know my stance on that. If Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao have 100 fights, Floyd's going to beat him 95 times because that's just the style. He's got the style and he has his number, in my opinion. But you know what? That fight that Floyd Mayweather was tested, and I saw Oscar De La Hoya was actually winning that fight at times. I thought that, maybe that would be a great rematch. And how many, a decade later? Why not? Let's see what happens. That would be a great fight to see Oscar De La Hoya fight Floyd Mayweather. I would pay to see that.
Listen, Oscar De La Hoya lost that fight because his trainer told him, don't worry, you got this fight in the bag. And, but anyway. Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Dax Khan will join us to get his thoughts on the fights that took place this weekend. Don't go nowheres.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And joining us right now to give us his thoughts on the fights and the commentating from the fights over the weekend is our very own Dax Khan. Good morning, Dax.
Good morning. Trying to play an early Monday game. What does Sal do during the break? Because some of the noises that goes on in the background when Sal's away from that camera.
Is they making a woman?
You know,
he was making.
God, that you're coming on, and when I come back, I say, "Oh, I gotta accept this, accept that." Yeah, well, I had coffee porn. I had this thing.
You don't need to accept anything. You don't need to accept anything. It's not
like I'm putting on a whole show behind the scenes.
Yeah, he doesn't have to accept anything. He just has to sit there and he's making woman noises back there. But anyway, Dax, I know we're limited now. You're going to be coming on and giving us a full breakdown of the World Boxing Super Series, and thank God for that Super Series on Thursday. But bottom line, we had some interesting fights over the weekend. Nothing great with the exception of the Saucedo and Lenny Zapavinga fight. But let's start off with Gilberto Ramirez. Earlier in the show, this guy I'm waiting for something to happen with him. You know, he's 38-0 with 25 knockouts. He did have a win over Arthur Abraham. He just was not impressive to me at all against Angulo. One thing I did notice is the guy had such a long arm and height advantage, and he fought small. It was like he was trying to fight to the same height as Angulo. You know, is that training? Is that just a lack of knowledge? I mean, what was your thoughts in the fight?
Well, in terms of that, I think it's a combination of several things. One, you know, it was a dreadful affair. You know, I like Gilberto Ramirez. The kid has all the physical tools that's needed to be a superstar. You know, whether or not maybe they have his head filled a little bit, he already thinks that he has this division cinched up. I don't know. But, you know, time's only going to tell on that. But, you know, he won his title from Arthur Abraham. He's had a few successful defenses against some decent opponents. I think Jesse Hart is probably the best since then. But, you know, he kind of seemed this weekend that he's regressed instead of improved. He gets hit too much. Maybe he overlooked Angulo. Possibly that's the case. I don't know. He says the right things. He wants to unify. He wants to fight the top names. Maybe David Benavidez, who kind of looks suspect in his fights against Ronald Gavril. You know, that might be a unification bout. But, you know, in no way do I think that Gilberto Ramirez has any sort of success going in there against George Groves. In fact, if he went in there against George Groves in a performance like he did last on Saturday or for a performance like he did, even in his fight against Jesse Hart, George Groves would have pretty much easy work with this kid. So, I'm hopefully he gets better. I hope we haven't seen this kid reach his plateau, because there's a lot more to him. He's still a young fighter. But again, when you mention that record, how many fights he has had, you also have to think about the fact that, most of those fights and a lot of those fights were gimme fights, meaning that they were fights that weren't really there to help him improve, put him in any sort of situation to round out his skill set. They were more or less just to build that resume on paper. And that's a big problem for a lot of fighters today.
Exactly. That's the root today. And that's why we see these guys still learning. A guy that's 38-0, a world champion, getting hit whenever Angulo really wanted to hit him. I mean, he was getting caught with some solid shots. There was one point in this fight where he was stunned. He turned his back and stumbled away. He doesn't even have the wherewithal to hold on. So a guy with 38 professional fights, he's fighting like he's a novice, and that's concerning for me. But in any event, the co-main event was a very exciting fight with Alex Saucedo and Lenny Zapavinga. Zapavinga showed what the definition of having heart is. A little too much. I thought they should have maybe stopped this fight a little sooner. But I'll tell you one thing, Dax. I would not have argued one bit, and I'm not sure many people could have either, if the referees stopped the fight when Alex Saucedo was taking a pummeling in the fourth round. I think he was very lucky for them to let that fight continue. He was taking way too many punches and was in trouble. Thankfully for him, Zapavinga was, I think, just about out of gas after that round.
This was the best fight, whether or not it's whether or not it's the top-ranked version or the Golden Boy version that ESPN has shown in a very long time, at least 2018, and might have been the fight of 2018 overall so far. Saucedo, we mentioned about the type of fights that guys need to grow. Saucedo, a kid who's had a lot of these sort of gimme fights, this was certainly the type of fight he needed, to tell his team whether or not he's ready to take that next step. After 28 fights, a couple minor titles, now is the time that this kid has to go up to that next level. And this fight, in my opinion, really showed that. This was a major hurdle when Zapavinga got up from that knockdown in the third to fight harder. That really tested Saucedo. Saucedo, who's had opponents get up in prior fights, but usually they have ended in that same round. He had to dig a little deep. He was cut. He's been cut in his last several fights, and he really had to go out there. He had to pace himself. He had to think a little bit more. He had to make sure that he didn't smother his punches. He had to go in there against the guy who was a veteran who's been in a lot of fights of this caliber, meaning these type of wars. So I really think that this kid grew in the fight. Lenny Z, not exactly an elite fighter, but definitely one of these fighters that's going to help a young guy like Saucedo get to that next level. Zapavinga is one of those all-or-nothing fighters. 2 years ago, matter of fact, he gave this same type of fight to former IBF 140-pound champion Sergey Lipinets. Lipinets was cut. He pushed Lipinets backwards. He was cut around both eyes. It was pretty much a mirror image of what took place against Saucedo on Saturday. So Zapavinga is definitely that guy that's going to help somebody like Saucedo get to the next level. It was a well-matched fight. Lenny Z did announce his retirement after that fight. He's only 31 years old, but with 41 fights, 35 of those being wars, he really taxed his body, so that's not a bad decision. You don't want to see a young guy 31 years old, in 5, 6, 7 years after retirement when you're forced to retire. These things have, some sort of effect on the body for the long term. I like Saucedo. He gets hit a little too much for me, but he's a skilled fighter. He does have that war mentality. Tighten up his defense a little bit, make a few adjustments, and he's definitely going to be a player at that 140-pound weight class, in my opinion.
We seem to say that so much today with young fighters that, yeah, they look good, but they need to tighten up their defense. Nobody fights with defense anymore, and it's alarming. But anyway, I know
that's because, the defensive fighters, even guys like Pernell Whitaker, who had an exciting defense, the way he moved and the slick punches that he would throw. Today, they just don't seem to appreciate that. They don't seem to understand, that hit and don't get hit mentality. So, I think some of these fighters, a lot of times they feel pressured, to have to stand there and go to war if they want to stay marketable.
I know we're very limited today, Dax. We only have a few more minutes. But did you get a chance to watch the Morrison fight? And if so, I thought Brian Pauly was looking for a soft place to fall down since the first bell. What'd you think?
Well, Brian Pauly's a professional opponent. Morrison, he's had a real soft route. We talk about these guys who need to step up their level of competition. He's got to fight somebody with a pulse, because if he doesn't, what's going to happen is we're going to see history repeat itself. He's going to end up just like his father was, pinned up against some ropes, while Ray Mercer was just landing bombs on him, except, it's not going to be somebody the caliber of Ray Mercer.
From Friday night, another ESPN led the pack with all the major fights on their network this week. But Rashidi Ellis improved to 20-0 against Alberto Mascara. What'd you think of that fight?
Mascara was there to make Ellis look good, and Ellis, he looked good, but he certainly didn't look Alex Saucedo good. He looked more or less Gilberto Ramirez good. It's a good thing that Rashidi Ellis isn't a world champion. I believe that, Rashidi Ellis is a talented fighter. I think he has to, fight in that ring a little bit smarter. I think that he needs to find a way to sit down on his punches a little bit, because that welterweight division is full of some strong guys and guys that are really 2, 3, and 4 levels above. So, as far as the fight, it kind of reminded me of the old version of those ESPN Friday night fights that we would complain about being such dreadful affairs. The Golden Boy promotion, ESPN broadcast in general are just, horrible affairs. They pretty much come to be nothing but Canelo infomercials. In between every round, there's a video of Canelo and that same thing in the gym where they're all talking about the Golden Boy fighters are a family. It's not even about promoting the Triple G rematch. It's just all about Canelo. And this is why I just really have a hard time watching that, because if I wanted to watch an infomercial, there are plenty of things out there that I can just turn on to my cable that I can watch that infomercial. I don't need to have Canelo shoved down my throat. And, when we have time another day, that's, it's a valid topic, not just with Canelo, but with a lot of these fighters where they're just shoved down people's throats so much that, it almost comes to believe that, if they're being shown so much and they're on so much and they're broadcasting them so much, whether or not they are a good fighter, they must be a good fighter. And unfortunately, they market that to the fans that don't know any better. And that's not to say Canelo isn't a good fighter, but Canelo is not Golden Boy Promotions. What would ever happen to that company if Canelo, for some reason, was injured and he had to retire? Who do they have to fall back on? And Oscar De La Hoya, did you notice this much? Oscar De La Hoya, I don't know what he was doing, but he was fumbling over his words. He was tweaking like he had about 25 cups of coffee. He couldn't keep his hands still. He kind of looked to me like Oscar might be using again.
It's just promoters have lost the ability to promote. They don't know what they're doing anymore. And Golden Boy's in some serious trouble if Canelo loses against Triple G in September. They've put all their eggs in the Canelo basket, really. I mean, listen, the worst thing that happened to Golden Boy was Richard Schaefer losing. But, Dax, we got to let you go. We'll look forward to you later in the week, because that World Boxing Super Series, the final, which was announced for the cruiserweight, the super middleweight, has not been announced yet, but we're expecting it soon. And hopefully a couple of more names will be added, and we'll give a nice thorough discussion on that, because thank God for the World Boxing Super Series, huh?
Already the names in here are amazing, and it's exactly the opposite of what we speak about or we criticize, that a lot of these names, and you hinted on it earlier in the show today, they don't need to enter this. They didn't have to enter this. In fact, they're on this road in their career where they're just starting to gain that mainstream popularity, and the loss in here could hurt that. But instead of going and getting these soft touches, they're going in there to prove that they are the best. And there's a few of these veterans who never had this big break that are taking advantage of this. So yes, definitely the World Boxing Super Series is nothing but a plus in this sport. And Thursday, we'll break that down, and we'll actually see exactly how detailed and how well put together this tournament is.
Looking forward to it, brother. Talk to you then.
All right, everybody, enjoy the day.
That's Dax Khan giving us his thoughts on the fights, and really looking forward to the segment later in the week. But right now, Sal, I want to talk a little about the heavyweight division. No, not about Deontay Wilder, your dream heavyweight, and not about Anthony Joshua. No, I want to talk about Big Baby Miller, Jarrell Big Baby Miller. This is a guy that acts like he's deserves a shot. He says so many things like, I've paid my dues, I deserve a shot, I could beat Deontay, I could beat AJ, I'm the best heavyweight, yeah, I'm fat, but I'm fast, I throw more punches than everybody, blah, blah, blah. I hear all this stuff. And the truth of the matter is he's got nothing to back it up. No resume to back it up. You know, very similar in his rise to Deontay Wilder's rise. The only difference is Deontay Wilder at least is exciting when he beats up his cupcakes. He's a guy that wins by knockout, and fans like it. The other thing about Deontay versus Big Baby Miller is Deontay's in shape. Miller is not. Now, some fighters can look like they're out of shape and do well, like Jarrell Miller. But this guy is not a draw. Now, here's the situation, Sal. Cuba Pulev, who is the number 1 or number 2 ranked, I forget, I think he's actually number 2 ranked fighter in the IBF, and the number 3 ranked fighter is Jarrell Miller. Now, Pulev is a legitimate top contender, in my opinion. He's fought some big names. As a matter of fact, his only loss came at the hands of Vladimir Klitschko. This is a guy that has beaten some good heavyweights. How Miller got to number 3 is beyond me. But nonetheless, the IBF ordered these 2 guys to fight. They could not come up with an agreement to fight, Sal. So, as normal procedure goes, it went to purse bid. Now, Epic Sports and Entertainment, who bid on this fight, won it with a $2,111,111 bid, and the closest one was Sutherland Events, which offered $1 million for this fight, which was less than half of Epic's. They won the fight, and here's the problem. They won the fight. They want to stage it in Bulgaria, where Pulev is from. Pulev's a huge name there. They can make a lot of money with television and all the other things that go with it. And now, Big Baby Miller has not signed the contract yet. And word on the curb is he's not going to sign the contract. What's your thoughts?
Wow. Bill, like I said, when fighters want to fight each other, their signature will be on the contract. And for whatever reason, Baby Miller does not want to sign his contract, whether his feelings are hurt or his feelings are hurt. You got to see his dentist. But the bottom line is he's got to look at the real future of his career. Where is it going? And if he doesn't take this fight, I don't think it's going to progress along as rapidly or as efficiently or monetarily as he would hope for. And Bill, I gave a lot of thought, and some of the things you've said in the past, especially when it came to a purse, how a purse could be shared, and not to get too sidetracked, but I love your idea. When we were talking about the Deontay Wilder, or we were talking about the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder fight, I mean, how beautiful, how great would it be if the fight game remembers that this is prize fighting? And I love the idea that 2 fighters going into a championship bout, or going into any fight, or going into a championship bout, we'll just leave it at that for now, may get an even or an equal amount of money in their contract to have on their side, and the winner of the fight will get the cushion that is left over that they have to fight for in order to win. I love that idea. I think it really would be unique if you could see a promoter that could implement that. I think you could see fight fans. I think you see a lot of things. So I don't know why Baby Miller, why I'm getting sidetracked, but the whole thing is he should be very humble in taking this fight, proving to the world that he is the real deal, and going over there in Pulev's backyard and trying to steal the show. But he's not going to do that because he can't rise to the occasion, and he doesn't want to.
The fighters today, first of all, yeah, to have a purse split. First of all, this is a different situation, but I get it. The big fights, the big fight.
I love it. It was ingenious when you said that, because I love it. It satisfies everything across the board.
Well, I think that it gives incentive. It would eliminate the talk of, oh, it was fixed, it was this, it was that, because you know, when you have extra money on the line and incentive, etc., it brings out the best of both fighters. But putting that aside, this Big Baby Miller guy is such a fraud. And we were talking about it kind of with Gilberto Ramirez in his fight from Saturday. Yes, he's a world champion. Yes, he's made 4 or 5 title defenses, but he hasn't fought anybody. This guy looked ordinary at best on Saturday. Miller doesn't even look close to being a top heavyweight, but yet because of his mouth and because of his self-promotion, he's even in the discussion. I mean, this is an example. Kubal Pulev has been around a bit. All right, he's been around the block. This is a guy that's been. As a matter of fact, I've met him I was ringside for his fight in one of his fights in Denmark, and I saw him get rocked a little bit. Against Derek Rossi. I saw Derek Rossi hurt him, and I wasn't impressed. But Pulev has improved. The only time that Klitschko ever fought the way he fought against Anthony Joshua was against Pulev, and he went into Pulev like he was Mike Tyson, similar to the way he fought Anthony Joshua. I'm talking about Klitschko. So really, the only 2 poor performances that you could suggest for Pulev, and I'm not even saying that the one against Klitschko was a poor performance. It was just against a guy that was in kill mode. Pulev's a legitimate fighter. He's fought some tough heavyweights. He's fought guys above him on the ladder and has beat past them. I don't understand why fighters like Jarrell Miller get these cushion cupcake type fights. They get these opportunities, then they have the gall to pick and choose what they want. This is a fight. Now if I'm the IBF and I have all my rules, you guys get a free open negotiation period, blah, blah, blah. You can't come up with a deal. Here's the purse bid. End the story. If this guy doesn't step up and fight, I'm talking about Miller, then the IBF should kick him out of the rankings. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think, it's a good point. These guys got to step up. They got to shut up, and they got to make sure that they realize what's at stake here, and they can't just be haphazardly moving along their weight class or division. They're striving to show the world that they're the best. They've got to be accountable. They've got to be responsible, and they've got to know that you're going to have some eyes and ears listening, and you got to either put up or shut up. And at that level, they should make it all happen.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Word on the curb is they're going to be feeding you extra pizzas. You're going to become a heavyweight, and you're going to fight Big Baby Miller because
you heard that. I would do that tomorrow.
I know you would.
I wouldn't even have to eat maybe the next day.
All right. We had I never got a chance to give props for our winner of our trivia question. The question was, name the only. I think did I already read this winner? I don't know. You know what? I got all messed up with the. No, I mustn't have because I still have it here. The question was, name the only retired heavyweight champions that beat every fighter they ever faced. Well, my man Coach was right. The only former and retired heavyweight world champions that beat every fighter they faced was Rocky Marciano, Lennox Lewis, which most people all got, and the third one that everyone forgot except for Coach was Ingemar Johansson. Some people mentioned Riddick Bowe and Gene Tunney, but Tunney had several draws, and Riddick Bowe had a no contest. Rocky never lost a fight. Lennox Lewis beat both guys that beat him, which was that. And Johansson only lost to Patterson twice, but then he beat him as well. So congratulations to Coach. I'm hoping he can find someone to use the Title Bout Championship computer game. Otherwise, we'll try and get something else for Coach. Today's trivia question. Let's see, which one is it? All right, I got this one right here. This one I've done on this show before, and hopefully you guys remember it. But here's the question, and if you're the first one to get it right, you too will win a copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. We got a few more copies to give away. You got to email me the correct answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. Here's the question. What two famous actors once shared an apartment with the late, great Jack Dempsey? Which two famous actors once shared an apartment with the late, great Jack Dempsey? If you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win the prize. Sal, you want to take a shot at this?
Well, I can't say Jack Dempsey.
I know you can't. That's why I'm asking you.
That's it. Douglas Fairbanks Jr.
Douglas Fairbanks Jr.?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I thought we had this question once upon a time. Maybe we didn't.
We
but
did.
It was too popular.
We did.
I mean,
we did, and you're close. That's all I'm going to say. So Sal just gave a close.
Errol Flynn.
How many answers you going to belt out?
I can throw.
Slow it down there, Rocky.
I'm throwing against the board, pal.
Slow it down, Rocky. Come on now. Be like molasses. Hey. Be like my lungs were when I jumped into the lake yesterday. I thought I was going to die. I was like, it was so hot. And then, the lake is so deep, I realize how out of shape I am. I'm like trying to get back to the boat, and I'm like, I think I'm going to have a heart attack right here in the water, My grandkids are swimming around me laughing, thinking it's all fun and games. I'm sitting there going, I got to get back on the boat. I thought I was like a beached whale when I got my fat ass back up on the boat. But anyway, on this day in boxing history, July 2nd, in 1996, Vincenzo Nardello wins a 12-round decision over Sugar Boy Malinga to win the WBC World Super Middleweight title, and that took place in Manchester, England, on this day in 1996. On this day in 1940, Max Baer stops Tony Galento. That would be two-ton Tony Galento, when he was not able to answer the bell for the 8th round of a scheduled 15-round heavyweight contest that took place in New Jersey. On this day, July 2nd in 1925, Harry Greb wins a 15-round decision over Mickey Walker to retain his world middleweight title, and that took place at the Polo Grounds in New York City. Mickey Walker, a great fighter that so many people forget about. He was something special, let me tell you. On this day in 1973, Joe Frazier drops Joe Bugner in the 10th round and goes on to win a 12-round decision in their heavyweight fight that took place in London, England, on this day in 1973. And finally, on this day in 1921, Jack Dempsey knocks out Georges Carpentier in the 4th round to retain his world heavyweight title, and that took place in New Jersey on this day in 1921. Programming note, we will not be doing a live show on that 4th of July for the United States Independence Day. We here in the States, we like to blow off firecrackers and stuff, and it's always amusing to see what celebrities blew off half their hand, because of being stupid. But
you ever hear Jerky Boys?
Yeah, I did. But in any event, listen, tomorrow we got some more stuff to talk about, and hopefully we'll get more stuff between now and then to talk about. Slow week traditionally, and it's unusual because the sport of boxing used to be so jam-packed. 4th of July and other holidays were always a busy day for the sport of boxing. Not so much now in the year 2018. But in any event, hey, make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.